All right. Hi there, and welcome to this demo with me and my trusted assistant, the Furhat Robot here. The robot is sleeping right now, but we'll wake it up a little bit later on and have a little chat. But first of all, I just want to say it's great to see you all here. We really appreciate the chance to come to talk to you, brilliant people that are exploring the world of social robots. And we're very proud of our robot, so we're happy to have you online so we can show you it. The original prototype of the robot was born in a research lab. So reconnecting with the research community and all the other brilliant people that are exploring social robots and spoken dialogue systems and virtual agents and all those kind of fields are very important to us. It is though a physical robot. So meeting online like this is perhaps not ideal to show you the magic of my friend here. But you know, this year hasn't really been ideal for anyone, right? So for the next 15 minutes or so, me and my buddy here will talk to you about what makes this robot unique and why researchers need a robot like this. I'll show you a little bit more behind the scenes, how the robot works, and you can get the perspective from the robot's perspective. And we'll leave some room in the end for questions. So please, as I'm talking, feel free to shoot questions using that Q&A function in Zoom, and we'll get to them in the end. And this is usually the most fun part, so please make sure to give me some good questions. Whoops, dropped a little mask there. We're gonna use it later on. All right, and today I'm not going to try to dazzle you with some amazing performance of the robot. Instead, I'm going to try to more make you understand what a social robot is, what is special about this social robot. My name is Nils Hagberg. My background is in computer linguistics, and I've been working in the industry for spoken dialogue systems for almost 10 years now. And 2 of those years I spent here at Furhat Robotics. And 2 years feels like 10 years, honestly. There's so much thing happening and there's so much fun every day. And working with this guy here, this person right here, it's amazing. I said guy and person, and maybe that's a little hint of what is special about this robot. Perhaps what do you call it, Freudian slip there is perhaps a little clue to what's so neat about this fella. All right, but I think it's a time to talk to the robot. We get a chance to talk to it. So I'll step in front of it so it will become aware of me. And let's see if you want to talk to me. Wakey, wakey.
Human was just taking a quick beauty sleep. How can I help?
Can you tell us a little bit more about yourself?
Yes, sure. I'm a Furhat Robot, a social robot built to interact with people in the same way you interact with each other. So I can smile and nod and maintain eye contact while I hold a conversation with you. What you see here today is the latest version. The very first prototype was built already in 2011. I looked a bit more crude back then with cables sticking out from my head. They came up with the idea to cover the cables with a fur hat. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is where the name Furhat comes from. I don't really need my fur hat anymore. I look pretty as I am, don't you think?
Yes, you look lovely. So let's take this off actually. You can go back to sleep now.
Okay. Hope to see the 2 of you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. So there are a couple of things that sets this robot apart from other robots out there. And the first and most obvious one is the natural appearance of the robot. And this is, of course, powered by the back projected face. And these micro movements of the face that really brings the robot to life, or at least creates the illusion of life. Let me grab the camera here and show you a little bit more up close. I think I'll wake it up as well so you can see the eyes a little bit better. Can you wake up again?
What can I do for you?
Can you just wait a little? Wait a little.
All right. I will be here for you when you want me.
So here we can see that innate micro movements of the face, the blinking, etc. That really gives the impression that the robot is alive. It is always hard to show the robot.
Do you need me?
No.
Okay.
It's very
Then I
hard
will
to
go
show
to
the
sleep.
robot on a screen like this because it is essentially a lamp. You know, there's a projector inside there. So there's really a different appearance of the robot when you see it in real life. Related to the natural appearance is the expressiveness that you can achieve with the back projected face. So can you show us a disgusted face? Or maybe I need to wake it up. Wakey, wakey.
Hello. Cool to wake up to two of you. How can I help you?
Can you show us a disgusted face?
This is a disgusted.
And what do you look like when you're angry?
Here you go, angry.
Oh, thank you. That was lovely.
My pleasure. Tell me what you want me to do next.
You can go back to just take it easy and just wait a minute.
Okay, give me the word when you need me.
And I truly believe that there is no real alternative for a physical robot with the same level of expressiveness of this one. And I would say the Furhat robot is only matched by digital avatars, and they will never be able to elicit that natural human responses that a physical robot can. No, Furhat.
Okay, I'll just go to sleep then.
Yeah, you can go to sleep. So that feeling of presence in the room, especially in multi-part interactions, there's definitely something happening when you get eye contact with the robot, in the same way that there is something that happens when you get eye contact with a human being. And let me actually put the camera back. It's a little bit tricky. I have a little shoulder injury, so I don't have the flexibility that I usually have. Okay, something like that. So what makes the face of the robot so much more powerful, it can be customized. So you can create totally different characters. Can you be Dougie the dog? Or perhaps you need to wake you up first.
How can I help?
Can you be Dougie the dog?
Okay, can you switch my mask to the pug mask? Let me know when you are done.
All right. It was the one we dropped earlier, so it didn't break. Demigods are with me today. Okay, the mask is on.
Hello, my name is Dougie the dog.
Hi there, Dougie. Nice to meet you.
My favorite things to do are eat, sniff, and lie around the house. Some people think I'm lazy. Huh. Every now and then, I like to go chasing after a ball or a cat.
That sounds amazing. I wish I was a dog sometimes.
Well, anyway, it's been nice talking to you. I gotta go take a nap now.
Okay, let's put the adult mask back. There we go.
Oh, Doug is a nice person. What do you want to do now?
You can go back to sleep.
Okay.
I want to talk to
It was
my
nice talking
friends
to the
over here.
two of you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. So that was showing you another character, with another voice, another face, another mask entirely. And we currently have 4 different masks, an anime, an adult, a child, and a dog mask that you saw. We also have 21 different faces of different ages, ethnicities, genders, more or less human-like, and over 200 voices in 30 languages. And you can even make your own faces and use other voices, either pre-recorded, or if you have your own speech synthesis, it's possible to get that working on the robot. And you will still have the lip syncing and all that expressiveness and flexibility of the face. So there really is an opportunity to explore different appearances of the robot. But this also means that when you get a Furhat robot, you don't get a Furhat character together, like bundled with it. In the same way, perhaps if you get a Pepper robot, you will get a Pepper character. So you can make it your own. And I love to hear and see when you name your robot. That warms my my heart as a product owner. And I hate to flame Pepper here because it's really a marvelous piece of engineering, and it's been deployed widely, in the research community, and so many people have done so much research with it, and it's really pushed the boundaries for social robots in the real world. But I have to admit that sometimes when I see research set up with the Pepper robot, it's borderline cringy sometimes what the people are pushing that robot to do with a toy-like interface and making claims about human-robot interaction in general. So Pepper, if you're listening, sorry, I love you, but sometimes maybe another robot would have been more suitable, or at least if you had the ability to be customized a little bit more, so you can change the appearance. Okay, rant over. The third thing I would like to bring up when it comes to what sets this robot apart from other robots is the quality of conversation. That low latency, rapid turn-taking, natural style of conversation. And we believe that there is a need for a high quality, off-the-shelf robot that is built for conversation. And other off-the-shelf robots, such as Pepper that is mentioned, or Now, or other robots, they have been tremendously useful in research, and we've seen them being widely deployed, as I just mentioned. But they're not really built for conversation, are they? And the Furhat robot comes with a dialogue framework that is based on the research and the work of Gabriel Skansen, our chief scientist and co-founder of the company. And he still holds his professor at KTH, the Royal Institute of Technology here in Stockholm. So he's really the father of that dialogue framework. I'm not going to go into that too much today. We actually have a separate webinar on the SDK that will go a little bit more into the dialogue framework that I encourage you to check out if you want to learn a little bit more about that conversational intelligence of the robot. Let's see, let me just adjust the camera a little bit here. There we go. And this actually brings me to another point that I'd like to make about why the research world needs a robot like this. There's been a lot of advancements in speech technology, and we've seen rapid deployment of these voice assistants, these voices in a box. And I don't know about you, but I think a lot of people had higher expectations for them. And we simply haven't found them to be very likable. A bit useful perhaps, but maybe not much more useful, than my smartphone or a smartwatch. So there clearly is a piece of the puzzle here that is missing. And that missing piece of the puzzle, could be the face, having a face. At least that's what we believe. And having a face can open up that type of social interactions with that emotional value, that carry that emotional value, that will make the technology beyond being utility and useful, but be something that we actually connect with and actually like. And the face is really the most human thing we have. And that is why, and then the expressiveness of the face and the emotional communication that goes on with the face, that is really why we are focused on that, and not have adding arms and legs to the robot, but really focusing on the face and that emotional communication that goes on with the face, and the gaze and movements of the head and so on. But it's not enough just to have a face, right? The robot needs to be able to see people as well. So let me open up the web interface, and you can see from the robot's perspective how it perceives the world. So I will just share my screen here. All right, so here we have the dashboard, and in the center here, you can see the camera feed, and you can see me. Underneath is the situation model, where users are mapped in the interaction space. And you can see here that I also added a virtual user to simulate you people at home here in the camera there. So the robot will occasionally look in the camera over there. And you can also see that the robot is trying to estimate my attention based on my head pose. If I turn a little bit closer to the robot, you can see that it can detect me when I'm looking directly at the robot, or perhaps when I'm facing more away from the robot and looking at a companion, or even when I'm perhaps looking down on my little screen I have here to assist me in this demo. And on the right side here, we have the dialogue that is taking place. If I tap this show intent, we can see when an intent was triggered that perhaps will trigger action on the robot. Right now the robot is sleeping, so it doesn't do anything unless I say one of the magic words. And we also have a wizard interface that I want to show you here for manipulating robot behind the curtain. So I can press these buttons that I've defined in my demo skill that I'm using here today to send the robot to sleep, to wake it up, etc. So we'll put you back to sleep, go to sleep. And I can also press the camera feed here to have the robot look in different places. And we have some ideas of how to even make this wizard interface more powerful. So hopefully we can add more features to it in the future. All right, I'll stop my share for now. When you get a, let me just put this view back on my computer. All right. So when you get a Furhat robot, you get this, the advanced high quality robot, and we really spared no expense on the hardware or the design of the robot. And this is the second generation. There have been many improvements along the way, and what we have now is a really high quality robot. And then you get the state-of-the-art software platform. You saw a little bit about the computer vision there in the interface, but there's also then, of course, software for the speech recognition, for managing attention and turning the robot, and just connected to the Wi-Fi and all these kind of things that needs to be working for the robot to be able to talk with people in a real world scenario. Microphone. There are some software that goes into that one as well. And you put a lot of effort into this software platform. It's really half the product. And we actually have people only using the software and the virtual robot that comes as part of the SDK, which is the third thing that you would get when you get the robot, that powerful and easy to use SDK. And they really try to create a balance there between out-of-the-box functionality for people who are maybe not so experienced developers, so they can easily get started and create skills for the robot, but also try to impose as few limitations and restrictions as possible for the more power users that maybe want to, integrate the robot with their own stuff. And I know a lot of you researchers, that's how you want to be using the robot. At least a lot of you in the HRI field or in speech technology. And I can also just mention that the SDK, we have a really good introduction, examples, tutorials, getting started guides, etc. on Furhat.io and in our documentation. So if you're curious to learn more, you can go there and dig a little bit deeper into the SDK. We actually had a separate webinar on that SDK, so you can check that out as well. I'll show you the links a little bit later on. But actually, let me show you a little bit more about the SDK, at least a little taste of it. So I'll go back to sharing my screen. Right. So here you can see the SDK that is running. And I have my virtual Furhat on the side here. Let me bring it up. Here we have him. And I can open the web interface and you will see the similar interface that I had when I showed you the physical robot. I have the similar one here for the virtual robot that is running, where I can simulate my interactions with users and work with my skill as I'm creating it. Let me also bring up the IDE that we are recommending to use, IntelliJ. So here you can see the dialogue framework that you are building your interactions with. And I'm not going to go into detail about this. As I mentioned, we have another webinar that goes more into detail about the dialogue framework and the SDK. But what I can say, because I think a lot of you are thinking about this, is can I use my Python code to control the robot or to connect with the skill? Because the SDK is built in Kotlin, a modern Java dialect that is the preferred language for Android development. So a lot of people I know ask us, can I use my Python code or whatever other programming language I'm used to working with? And we have some solutions for that. So that's definitely possible. I would also like to take this opportunity to show you that visual programming prototyping tool. Let me actually show you that that Blockly tool using it on the robot instead. I can start it from the dashboard here of the physical robot. And we can open the interface like this. So here we can see a little interaction that I built in like a half an hour or so to practice the multiplication table. And I think we'll skip running this this dialogue because I think we'll just take a little bit unnecessary time. But you can get the idea of the tool of this drag and drop. So you have these blocks you can drag and drop for attending a user or saying different things or doing these all other things that you will want to be doing in your interaction. All right, so let me stop sharing my screen again. Okay, so that was actually all that I had planned to show you today. So you better start typing those questions. I think I saw one question switch by there a moment ago. So I know there's at least one there, so keep them up. But while you're doing that, let me wrap up by summarizing the last 15 minutes with the most important things that I've talked about here. And sorry, it's a little bit creepy when you're just staring in front of you like that. So I'm gonna start that demo skill again. So at least you will be sleeping. I feel a little bit more, how to say, comfortable when you're not staring at me. All right, so let me wrap up. What was special about this robot? So, the expressiveness and the natural appearance of the robot, customizability, and the quality of conversation. And we believe this is a useful tool for researchers because you need a face with the voice. And there is a need for out-of-the-box, off-the-shelf robots built for conversation. And the SDK that comes with the robot is a well-balanced robot for both providing sort of out-of-the-box functionality for people who are not so experienced working with this kind of technology, but also a highly programmable SDK where you can integrate it with your own stuff and really explore the world of social robots the way you want to do it. And what you got is, you know, advanced high-quality robot, the state-of-the-art software platform that comes with it. It's really tightly integrated, and the powerful and easy-to-use SDK. And as a bonus, of course, you get to become part of the wonderful growing community of Furhat caretakers. And if you have some of you listening today, I'm just going to give you a virtual kiss. We love you. All right. And if you're curious to learn more about the robot, you can request the SDK from Furhat.io. I'm going to put the links up here. On Furhat.io, you can request the SDK. You can try it out, check out the interface, play around with the robot. You can open that Blockly tool that I showed to create some small, simple thing in like half an hour. Or you can maybe check out the tutorials, the getting started guides, and go into that Kotlin and build a little more advanced and powerful interaction. Or test out, you know, see if you can integrate it with your own software. If you have any questions there, feel free to just shoot them directly to me. I'm happy to understand how you would like to be able to use the robot. There's some things that maybe is not publicly available, but I can still share with you. All right. And also, if you would like to dig a little bit deeper, we have a few sessions and webinars on the NLU, on the computer vision. We have a couple of more targeted to different industries, as in healthcare and travel and tourism and so on. And they're available at furhatrobotics.com. There's a little button on the top that says Meet Us Online. Click there and you can see all that content. And actually, we have this afternoon, we have a, oh, I'm a little bit stressed about that, but this afternoon, we have a webinar on the art of creating skills. And we will be joined by the interactions team, at least two of them from here at Furhat Robotics. And they'll talk a little bit about that magic of creating skills on the Furhat Robot. And next week, we will also have a webinar with one of our customers from the University of Darmstadt that will be showing Alfie the robot and talk a little bit about that. So please, if you're interested, you can sign up for that as well. And as I said, the links are below here. All right, now I'm ready for your questions. So let me bring up that interface here. And actually, I can see that I've been talking a little bit too much here, so I'm already hit the mark here of the time slot that we reserved for today. I'll, of course, stick around and answer your questions. But if you have to leave, I'll just say thank you so much for coming to listen to me and Furhat. And we hope to see you in our future webinars or hear more from you and what you think about the robot. And if there's anything, you have questions that you might have, we'll be happy to answer that. But let's get into the questions. Can you show us the backside of Furhat? I want to see the cables. Sure. So let's see, I need to see the camera myself here so I can, this might be a little bit tricky for me with my broken shoulder. So here you can see the ports in the back. And right now I'm basically using all of them to do this online meeting. But what you have is two USB-A sockets. One I have here for the microphone that I'm using, and one I have here for the screen so I can get touch input. There's a USB-C plug that I'm using to attach a screen to the robot. There's an Ethernet cable, there's a power cable, and then there is the fan exhaust there and the on button. And on the side here is that button to open the on-face menu, so you can manage the robot start a scale on it and adjust the volume and so on. All right, let's try to put the camera back here. And thank you, Susanna, for assisting me here. There we go. All right, so the next question. Is it possible to use Furhat for live interactions? So anybody sitting in a different room, typing, speaking through Furhat? Yes, technically it's definitely possible. And maybe I can just show you an example. So I can, in the web interface, I can just type whatever I want the robot to say. Hi there, beautiful people.
Hi there,
Can you
beautiful
spell this?
people. Hi there, beautiful people.
So it is possible to do this. And as I mentioned there in the wizard interface, I would like to add some more of these controls so you have more of the things that you can play around with when you're using the robot from behind the curtains. I can also mention there that we have been doing some testing and it hasn't been officially launched or put into the product yet, but we have been testing if you can have the wizard speaking and having that sound being played out on the robot and having the lips, lip sync automatically with it. So hopefully that's something we will be adding in the future. At least that you can speak and then have, speech recognition, and then have the robot use synthesized speech for playing out that speech that was recognized from the user. But it would be really powerful if it could actually be using that that audio from the user, from the wizard. We have also been experimenting with a more advanced facial recognition system. So the robot could detect different landmarks in my face and can have them play out in real time. So in theory, then the wizard could be, talking, and all of the facial expressions of the wizard would then be translated onto the robot. And that could be used both for these wizard scenarios, but also if you're creating an interaction, so you can sort of record a gesture, keep it, and then call it when you're using it in the interaction. If you want this smile or whatever special type of facial expression that you want to create. So to summarize there, yes, it is possible, but hopefully we can make it a little bit more powerful and useful in the future. And the best thing to make that happen is to contact us, email us, and say, like, I want this feature. It really helps me when I'm pushing for features for the platform team and what things to focus on for the robot. So don't just sit on your ideas and what you want like the robot to do. Send them to me. All right. What OS is the robot using? So the robot, or the computer software platform, is running on a Unix base. And we have created our own sort of OS that runs on top of Unix, that is hosting all of these, connecting all that hardware with that software algorithms that needs to be running to have an interaction like this with the robot. But the SDK that you're using, it's available both for Mac, Windows, or Unix. And that essentially is when you're running a skill, it's a Java-based system. So you are running essentially a Java application. Is it possible to detect object and install our own programs to detect things for machine learning? It's not built in for the robot to detect objects, but because we believe, not all interactions would benefit from having object recognition. It's more of a specific use case. So we think it's more it's more of something that you want to add on the application layer of the robot, and not on the platform layer that is really part of the robot. So what we have done is we have made sure that you can get access to the raw video stream of the camera feed. So you can pipe that to another computer, and on that computer you can do whatever you want with it. If you want to apply object recognition algorithm, if you want to do maybe a posture analysis algorithm, or maybe you just want to log it and save it. And because of privacy reasons, this is a feature that we it's not enabled by default, so you need to make sure to turn it on, and it's only available for robots that are marked for research, not for the ones that are commercially available, standing at airports and so on. Great, I hope that answered your question. And we actually have an example skill of how to use that feature of that video stream. So if you go to our website on Furhat.io, developer zone, and up there's a link to example skills on GitHub, so you can check that out. And I think there might be a question or two here in the chat, so let me bring that up as well and see if there's something I missed. Okay, here I see something. And everything that is spoken typed will be documented in the log. Yes, not by default. You have two options for, or maybe three options for logging. One is what we call the dialogue logger, and if you turn that on, it will log all the spoken utterances between the robot and user. And you also get access to the actual audio file of the utterance of what the user was speaking. And let me see if I can actually share what that looks like, that tool. It might be empty, but let's give it a try. I'll share my screen. I'll go to Furhat.io. Open it. Cancel. I need to log in. Okay, sorry, I can't show you here. I have the wrong computer to show you. So that's the first option, just logging the interaction. The second option is the flow logger. And then you can turn that one on in the interaction, and then you can log all the things that is happening, in your flow and transitions between different states and so on. And then you can add your own log messages. And then the third option is do it yourself. You have the power of the SDK and the Kotlin, where you can build anything you want or on top of it. So you can use other loggers or create your own log system. I was going to bring up the chat, right, to see if there was another question that might have ended up there. Here we see. Here we go. You named a cappella. Is it possible to use Furhat with German speech? Do you have experience with Switzerland German? Yes. So the robot speaks a number of languages. It can understand, it can listen up to 200 languages. And we're using Google and Microsoft ASR for speech recognition services, cloud-based. So we have all the voices that they support, we can support in the robot. For speaking, we have, I said, over 200 voices in about 30 languages. So a little bit fewer languages for speaking, but Germany is definitely one of them. I'm not 100% sure if we have a Swiss-German voice, and I'm also not 100% sure if there's a special variant for that that you can set in the speech recognizer. I'll have to get back on that. And I can't think of an example when I know a customer has been using the robot for specifically Swiss German. So I'm afraid I don't have the full answer to your question there, but definitely it's about speaking German. It's definitely possible in the robot. And there's the third element of the robot being understand language is the natural language understanding part of the robot. As you know, listening, speaking, and understanding speech, and that we have working for German as well. That means both you have some built-in already made intents and entities that you can use, like to be able to recognize numbers, dates, colors, names, these kind of things, and some of the pre-built intents for greeting and yes, no, and I don't know, and these kind of common intents that you might want to use in your interaction. But typically, the natural language understanding model and the module is pretty much language independent. So the only difference there between the languages that we have sort of full support for is those built-in out of the box intents and entities that you can get access to. All right, I think I have time for one more question. I see here. Can you tell us something about the wizarding the robot for research experiments? What is the latency like, and how does it compare with conversation with Alexa or Siri or Now or Pepper? When you're wizarding the interaction, there really doesn't have to be any latency. The only latency I would say it would be the speech recognizer and the timeouts that you have sent that you have set for your speech recognizer. And when you're using the speech recognizer, you can set it to get incremental speech results on what the user is saying. So you can see as the person is speaking what the utterance is, and it's sort of updating incrementally. That can be really useful to reduce the latency when you have a wizard talking to the robot, because you can understand what the person is trying to say even before they finish speaking, as opposed to having to wait for the speech recognition result that might come half a second or so after you detected that the person stopped speaking. So that's something that can be really useful to reduce that latency in turn taking. In terms of the camera feed, I would say it depends on the speed of your Wi-Fi network, and typically I would say there hasn't been any issue with that latency. And I don't have a lot of experience working with Now and Pepper, but the feedback that I've heard is that sometimes the dialogue when talking to Now and Pepper robots, it's not that fast, and it's a very I speak, you speak, ping pong type of interaction. And I think we have a little bit faster, a little bit more agile dialogue framework for that more rapid turn taking. And I would say that would also translate into the web interface. The wizard interface when you interact with the robot through the wizard interface. And what's neat about the wizard interface is also that the buttons that you define in your skill, they can be dynamically created. So you don't need to have one piano with all the buttons that you will need for your entire interaction, but you can set, so now I'm in this state, then the robot should have these options for speaking these things or doing this behavior. And then when I transition to another state or part of the dialogue, you can define what buttons should be active there. And you can of course have buttons that are always active throughout the interaction. Great. I think I need to wrap up there. Thank you so much for your great questions. That was a really good set of questions. I'm happy to be able to try to answer some of them. And if you have any more questions or you feel I didn't really answer them fully, please send an email to me, nils@furhatrobotics.com. Nils, N-I-L-S, @furhatrobotics.com, and I'll be happy to answer them. Or if you don't have any questions, just some feedback, I'm happy to hear that as well. All right. Lastly, I just want to plug, if you want to keep getting more information from us, follow us on social media. You can sign up for our newsletter, check out those webinar series that we're doing. Go to our website and you can sign up for those, or view the ones that are in the past. They're available on YouTube. So you can get to know us and the robot a little bit more, and then reach out to us so we can get to know you a little bit more. All right. Thank you so much for today, and hope to see you again.